Everybody, I'm Kathy Hester and welcome to my kitchen. Today is number 2 of a series on the Ninja Creami Deluxe. So this is the older model, which is the not deluxe model. And we did an unboxing yesterday, and wherever you look around you'll see a link to where you can go watch that too. We talked a little bit about some of the different parts and compared and contrasted them, but we couldn't actually do anything because I didn't have anything frozen. So I got a request during that live to do a Frappuccino, which Ninja Creami is calling a Creamiccino. And I went pretty close to their recipe, and I'm going to give you some whole food plant-based options, of course, to change that around. So I used some cold brew coffee, and in fact, I think I got both of these at like Home Goods or TJ Maxx or something like that. So while we were on vacation, I got some churro coffee. So basically it's cinnamon cold brew concentrate. I use cold brew coffee when I'm making coffee drinks because my stomach doesn't like the acid in regular coffees. So I've modified the recipe in this book. So let me let's see how close this is. I have it close up for something else. There we go. So this is from the book, the little Ninja Creami Deluxe book. And if you guys want to say hi and tell me where you are and what the weather's like, it's chilly here in Durham, North Carolina. So the original recipe does it totally different than I would do it. So I want to tell you that recipe. They put in the pint, an empty pint, 1/3 cup of granulated sugar, and then put hot coffee in there to dissolve it, which I find counterintuitive, like really counterintuitive. Then they add 3/4 cup of half and half. For processing, they pour in more coffee. So what I did, hey CJ, it's awesome to see you. And so obviously that's not whole food, plant-based, or even vegan at this point, right? Okay, so instead of regular coffee, I used the concentrate. So what I did is I used, trying to remember now, 1/4 cup of the concentrate plus 3/4 cup, I think, of the milk, regular milk or whatever. And then instead of half and half, I used this Califia Pumpkin Spice Oat Barista blend. It is not whole food plant-based because it does have some sugar in it, and it does have a little sunflower oil. It is vegan. It's not super low calorie either. But I wanted to try and make this close. So my recipe, oh, hey Linda, she said it's 51 degrees, but beautiful and sunny. Still a delightful day for a Creamiccino, right? Okay, Avant-Garde Vegan is in the UK and uses grams and milliliters as a standard. Oh. They don't have it in here, they just have cups and ounces. So, oh hey Kathy, you're watching the unboxing video? Awesome. I think they go well together because we'll still see some of the same things again. So don't worry if you didn't watch it. What is it? And I usually have my little list with me, but I don't have a cup measure or anything. But I do it this way too. So if I wanted to do a cup, I would just cut it and whatever. But yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe the UK, did the UK booklet that came with your original Ninja, CJ, have milliliters and grams and stuff in it? Because when I've done cookbooks for publishers, I've had to do both. I do tend to not do both now, though if enough of you poke me, I probably will. I think on the website you can change it, but I'll double check that, and if that's true, I will send out an email telling everybody how to do it. Because also I'm kind of like, well, it's close enough. If you got 1 carrot, use a carrot. If you got a cup, use a cup, 1/4, sounds great. So, but with this for right now, I wanted to do it the way they said it, except I'm changing it all. Imagine that, right? So again, I see more people are joining. So The original recipe was 1/3 cup granulated sugar, 1 cup hot black coffee, and 3/4 cup half and half, which obviously we're not doing because this is a vegan show. And for processing, the pour-in is coffee. They're saying to make it dairy-free, use any dairy-free alternative for creamer. I'm using the Califia Pumpkin Spice Oat. They're also saying make it light, use allulose, which I still haven't used, I don't know anything about. I still prefer liquid sweeteners over dry sweeteners. But you could use that. So if you wanted to use coconut sugar, you could do it that way with hot coffee. But if you put cold brew from the fridge on it, it's not going to dissolve. So I would be more likely, if I had a hot coffee, to dissolve the sugar in the coffee and then put it in the pint. So I'm just not really sure what the deal is with that. And Kathy said, just gotten to the point where you were going to try to figure out if this motor was bigger. It is not. The motor is the same. They're both 800 watts. Now, if anything's changed or been different, I don't know yet. There's a guy who took apart the original who makes things like this. He's like an engineer, which I am not. I am a mad scientist. That is it. So he will probably do a compare and contrast. He did a compare and contrast with the Paco Jet, that's whose patent, I guess, didn't get renewed or expired or whatever, so that's why the Ninja Creami exists. Thank you, CJ. It is in the original booklet. What I should do, though, is I should put a little chart in the back of the book. The video isn't blurry for me at all, Vanetta, so I'm not really sure. Could your internet connection be kind of bad? Because it's actually super clear on this area. Cheryl, maybe you could check and look to see if the video is very blurry. Someone said it is. It's real clear right now where I'm seeing it. CJ says the video is clear. So, Vanetta, I think it's you. Okay, awesome. All right, so we've talked enough about this. Those of you who, as you come in, you'll figure it out. So in here, I put 1/4 cup, and let me see if yeah. Let me not remember incorrectly for you. I did 1/4 cup of the churro cold brew, and then to bring it up to the cup of coffee, because I like a little coffee with my non-dairy milk. So if you like a strong coffee, you can go all in way more than I'm going to go in. I want this to be like a milky frappuccino. So just know that. And then I added 3/4 cup vanilla oat milk to kind of make that cup. Then I added 3/4 cup of the Califia Pumpkin Spice oat creamer, which was like for the creamer. And I did about 2 tablespoons of date syrup. Even though this has a sweetener, it is very, very much not very sweet, even though it has some sugar in it. I'm trying to see, yeah, the total sugars are 15 grams, which I think is pretty low. But anyhow, it doesn't taste very sweet. Awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on. And let's have a couple of little reminders. And let me come from over here. Okay, so here was the freeze line. There is the drinkable pour-in line. Okay, we're going to talk about that more in a minute. So let's take this off. I'm still going to scrape off my hump. Can you guys see the hump a little bit? It's not too bad, but I always do that to save the motor. And to me, this is super coffee-ish. So if I had put, I'm not an espresso drinker, people. And what if you didn't want to use coffee or you don't do caffeine? You could do this with decaf, make your own cold brew. On healthyslowcooking.com, I have an easy cold brew recipe, and I'm going to do it again later, sometime this week. If you've got a French press or a mason jar, put probably about a cup-ish of coarse ground coffee, fill the rest up with water, let it sit 24 to 48 hours, press the pump or strain it. Ta-da! Cold brew that doesn't cost a lot of money. This cold brew that I got was $5.99. I think it's as much as $10 in the store. So, and I don't drink that much coffee. Could you use Ticino? Yes. Or Dandy? Of course you can. You just want to make it a little bit stronger if you want it to behave like cold brew, or you could like use the original recipe. This is, whenever I do this, then I'm going to taste it. Does it taste sweet enough? Yes. Does it have pumpkin-y goodness? Yes. So this is going to make me very happy for a fall coffee. So mine is here and the fill line is here, so it's a little bit below, and I'm not going to worry about that. Like, seriously not going to worry about that. So let's see what it says. And this is frozen a little under 24 hours because it was around 2:30 yesterday or so when I did this. But I had also frozen some London Fog to have this morning, and it was already frozen. Plus we're doing a drink, so worst case scenario, if something isn't frozen all the way, it's slushy. So there you go. Okay, it says add pour in to the drinkable pour in line. So they would have us add this much more coffee. That is too much. And I find it a little bit weird that they're saying hot black coffee for the first one and then just generic coffee. So I worry that someone might pour in hot coffee, and that would be very unpleasant. If you look, there's a frozen chai latte, so I'm just going to look at those instructions a little bit too. Yeah, and they're pouring in, they're using a cup of chai tea concentrate with a cup of milk. Obviously we'd use non-dairy. And then for the pour in, they're doing more chai tea concentrate, and that seems excessive. But you guys tell me, is it just because I like milky goodness? So I have just some unsweetened soy milk that I'm going to shake up really good. All right, and I'm going to make it probably about halfway up to the fill line since I was a little bit under. How much milk you're going to put in here is going to change how thick or thin it is. And one of the things it says, note, prefer more sippable. If you prefer a thinner frozen drink after processing, simply add 2 to 4 additional tablespoons in your desired pour in, then select respin. But what we're going to do is we're going to select full, because we've got 3 things. So this one, we just press a button and it does its thing. And let me get this over here a little bit. We'll look at it from the side where you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so we've got the top part, the full part, or the bottom part. We found out yesterday we can only do milkshake on the full part. So I'm going to pull this out, and it comes out. Look, there's little sliders. It doesn't twist out. If you watched the last video, you watched me struggle with that. Okay, right? Still going to take this lid off. I'm going to put this in. There are still those same things, so we're just going to put it in, make sure it's in there right. The lid goes on the same. Also, in case any of you guys are watching this for the first time, the blade mechanism is the same too. So we have the same thing here. Everything's a little bit bigger. This is longer, and there's some more ice crusher things. And that's a really good point. Lydia says, can this be done in the original Creami? So what I have for you, I have the original Creami, and then actually, let me pull it out of I'll do it while we're processing. I've got some of this frozen in there. I'm going to show you how I've done it before as milkshake style. So as we're going along this week, I'm really going to be trying to compare things a lot to see if it really matters. Okay, so we'll go back on this side again. I'm going to slide this guy in, and then I'm going to twist him up, I think. Do I have to hold this to twist him up? No, that's, okay, let me move this here. I'm just not pulling it up enough. Okay, clicked in. All right, I'm going to turn the power on. up here, this is a press button. I'm going to press full. And that's the Creamiccino button. Frozen drink, slushy, milkshake. And I can come over here and go through these guys. This side can only be accessed with full. So it's going to be 5 minutes, I think. So I'm going to get some of the other stuff. And let me see about, sorry about the lighting over here. The lighting is just like not great. I'm going to put it down in here where we can see a little bit closer. And I'm going to press this to start. So I've got the other regular Creami pint out, and I'm just scraping off the top while we're listening to the loud noise. I'm sorry, I know this is a long 5 minutes, but there's nothing I can do. So we're at 4 minutes. Woo! So if you have some questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them. You're on camera. Okay. Good. It's not moving anywhere because it slid into those things. So those of you that may have had issues with that outer container wiggling, the new thing should fit that for sure. We're on 3 minutes. Yes, it is, Cheryl. I think we got a delivery and Cheryl got the package and came up. I'm stepping away. I don't know that it seems any louder, but it's not really that much quieter. It seems a little less high pitched though, which is kind of nice. And what I'll do too is after I dish this out, I'll show you, well, we may or may not rinse out the container, and I'll make another one really fast so I can freeze it for tomorrow. And then I'll have Cheryl break down this video in different parts to put on YouTube so people don't have to watch the whole live to get the recipe. It's looking pretty yummy. Blue says, looks like that lid is going to get dirtier from the splash than the original one did. And we'll find that out because this is the first time I've done anything other. I did water in the demo. So we'll find out. It definitely is going up pretty high. And remember, I didn't go up quite all the way to where they said to go. Now, I did notice there were some extra things, like extra holes. Well, that sounds louder. It must be coming up, I wonder. Because that's a different noise, so I suspect that's it. here. Okay, so the changing noise sound was that it was coming up. So let's do a few things real quick. So I'm going to press the button just like I did the other one, only we're sliding it out, okay? So then let's take a look. Hey, Stephanie. It's good to have you guys here. So any of you who are joining late, we're making a Ninja Creamiccino vegan style, and we're testing out the new Ninja Creami Deluxe and kind of contrast and compare. Okay, so same way, we take this off, and you can see there's a little bit in here. And also what I usually do is take a little piece of wet paper towel. Let me show you how I do this. I think we've all talked about that. Because you can get some stuff up on the nib. And as long as we're kind of just, it usually comes out pretty clean. But this way, anything that might possibly be there, I don't know what I got on over there, but it was sticky. Okay, so let's see. So Khaki Blue was saying, he thought the lid was dirtier. I don't think that lid is much dirtier, honestly. Okay, now to me that's a little crystally. It's my very first time doing this. I'm very picky. I'm more of a double blended. There's not really an ice wall. Looks pretty consistent all the way through. Let me take a pull back a little bit. Okay, it tastes really good. It tastes really good, and I think I'm being just a little bit, I'm seeing ice crystals, but I'm not really feeling them in my mouth. It's really good. To those of you who wish this had more coffee, this might seem more like a milkshake, but where I put the extra soy milk in, you could have put extra coffee, or half of each. When you tasted it, if it didn't taste as sweet, you could have added some maple syrup, date paste, anything like that, because it all got mixed in really well. I think that's why it takes 5 minutes. It takes longer because it's definitely really well incorporated. So we'll put some in here. But, you know, I don't see that this got, because I figured it would be a lot splashier. And by that I mean more things splashed on it instead of like it's wearing a tuxedo. So, right, okay. So, Cheryl, come get your Frappuccino to try. Your Creamiccino.
Sorry, I'm right in the middle of something.
Okay, she's working. She can't come get hers now. So this makes about 2 servings as written. I would say these are 2 talls-ish, if we're Starbucks talking. But I mean, it's definitely nice. If this is too blended for you, then you could put a little more non-dairy milk in and go respin. It was very clear on the directions. And I'll be putting this particular recipe up with options. So I can't remember if I told you the options yet. I may not have. The options would be to use a non-dairy milk instead of using the creamer. I did talk about some of the different options that you could use instead of coffee. Oh, and Stephanie's husband gets double blended too. I don't like to spend that much money on a drink and not have it exactly the way I want. So I'm going to show you real quick too. I'm going to drink some of mine and put Cheryl's over here. Let me get a cup measure. And I'll just show you exactly what I did to make this, because it's pretty ridiculously easy. And then we're going to look at this other one. All right. So let's get our ingredients together. We're looking at the coffee, the creamer, and this last time I did non-dairy oat milk. But so I'm going to put about a 1/4 cup in here of my concentrate. If you're not using cold brew, you can use a whole cup, but cold brew is pretty concentrated, so to make the recipe, I'm going to make it up with milk. Plus, I like my coffees milky, so I'm making that up to 1 cup. Pouring that in, and then I'm doing 3/4 of a cup of this creamer. And you could use, I think I even have some whole food plant-based pumpkin spice creamers on healthyslowcooking.com. So if you guys ask about that, I'll go find it for you. Okay. And then it said, yeah, that's all it said. So it's still exactly a little bit below the top line. And then I'm going to mix in, I think I put about 2 tablespoons of date syrup in here, but I really kind of free form it. And then I just mix it up real good till the date syrup is kind of getting a little bit blended in. I wasn't sure how well this would blend, but I think it would blend in just fine, even if it's near the bottom. But those little feet will catch it, you know, and there's sometimes some little crispies there. So that's exactly how long it took me to make this. So you're going to put it in the freezer for 24 hours. Then again, you could fill it up to the drinkable line with coffee, more coffee, or non-dairy milk, or a combination. Totally up to you. All right, and I will say it's really good. Really good, but this is definitely treaty. So I like to have some pumpkin spice decadence, and when I saw I like the Califia Oat Barista blend, and someone else had asked me, I've been frothing, regular soy milk has been frothing really well with that little mini frother. Okay, let's see. Questions? Yes, khaki blue. I wonder if you could process that to a softer consistency in the original machine. So we're going to do one in the original machine, so don't worry. I just want to I'm trying to make this easy for Cheryl to chop up into smaller videos. That's the goal. And hey, Patricia, welcome. And you guys who are here, so we're kind of contrasting and comparing the new Ninja Deluxe, which has some fancy drink settings that I just made this fancy drink on. So let's do some more loud things. Let me see if I can get this around here. Okay. So this is the regular one. All right, so this one twists out. And I have a pint, and I used exactly the same recipe. So that made a pint, a real pint, not a deluxe pint or a fancy whatever pint, but a real pint. Got this in, going to put it on top, and I'm going to process it as light ice cream. I almost could process it as regular ice cream because there is a little bit of fat in that cream, but better not. So I'm just going to kind of put this in here. We're going to lock it in. Bonk. I wasn't sure if I was going to run these at the same time, so I have a big extension cord. All right, so we'll look at this. So I'm putting the power on, and I'm doing light ice cream. I'm bringing a coffee to Cheryl. And I'm taking you away from the loud noises. If you have questions about Ninja Creami or Ninja Creami Deluxe, please put them in. Oh, I think a bug flew in hers while she just had it, but it's okay. It's natural flavor. We have the doors open because it's nice outside. And what's interesting, our new cat is totally doesn't even care about all this noise. He's like, whatever, which is kind of nice. That's awesome. And one anti-venom says that she was about to do something productive and then came across this video. This is going to happen. I'm going to be here all week, folks. Tomorrow, I'm going to be kind of comparing and contrasting the Italian ice setting with the sorbet setting. I'm going to do a full pint in the Ninja Deluxe. And since we can spin half of it one way and half of it another way, I thought we'd look and see what the results are like. I will be doing a pumpkin spice apple, or I guess autumn spiced apple. They call it a sorbet. I think it ends up looking like ice cream. So I just have in there applesauce, and I froze it yesterday, applesauce and some pumpkin spice seasoning. So it doesn't need any sweetener at all, so it's whole food plant-based as is. I would say now, comparing the two, this is louder. It's faster, but it's louder. Okay. Huh? Cheryl says it's way louder. Okay, so I'll set this kind of here. We'll come facing. Okay. So what you'll see here. Let me see if I can zoom in on it a little bit. Okay, so I mean it's pretty good. If I was doing this, I could do this for ice cream too, right? Just eating it, I would respin it. But for right now, we just want it there. Let me come back. Let's see. And Mirren says, I hope the hurricane doesn't impact Kathy's place too much. We won't know for a little while, but it shouldn't be too bad. We'll find out. I think it's supposed to hit Asheville pretty bad, which is about 3.5 hours away. So far so good. If you
Issued a tropical storm warning for us.
Cheryl said they just issued a tropical storm warning for us for Saturday or Friday?
Tonight and tomorrow.
For tonight and tomorrow. And I have a class tonight, so that could be very exciting. So if you want to see the storm with me, go to kathyester.podia.com and come hang out with me in the Apple class. Okay. This is a Facebook user, and I'm sorry I don't know your name. If you're on Facebook, if you put your name in, I would love to address you personally. Heading to Summer Kitchen to do up peaches and green beans, but here I sit watching. It's not going to be super long, I promise. And Khaki Blue says, louder is relative. After all, we're Vitamix owners. I totally agree with you. The people that freak out that it's loud, you don't have to stand right by it. That's why I'm kind of wandering around. Okay, so back to the original, go away. Back to the original Ninja Creami, right? So this was the same setup with no milk. So this is how I've been making frappuccinos. Is that now I remember why I was coming up here. I totally got distracted. So instead of making one whole pint of this, normally I would split it into two. Then I would process it and add milk and do milkshake. We are going to do something similar. I'm going to take about half of it and put it in here. And then we can see if there is a little bit of an ice wall going on here that should get fixed. Is that about half? Now, I'm just guessing. Does that look like half? I think we need a little bit more up here. Okay. And then I'm going to add milk. I'll add milk to one of them. I'll leave, we'll do this one. We'll do this one. Because this is how I was saying, if I had just done it in the pint. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of milk. I'm using the same soy milk, unsweetened soy. And I'm probably going to use a little less. I tend to end up making my milkshakes too milky for me. Because I do like that the other one had that kind of measurement idea. But honestly, I could start measuring it out. I have made many of these in the past few months. Okay, I'm just going to put this back on. We'll switch over here. And now I'm going to use the milkshake setting, which will be a little less loud. Okay, so that's less time, so we'll see how creamy or not creamy it is compared to the other one. And it's not going to be exactly a one-to-one. And Kathy's saying, and this is a good point, that extra sturdy housing at the top of this one probably is muffling it more. Because definitely here, it rounds instead of just going in, so they may have added some of that, some muffling. And Mirren says, thank you, Kathy, I'm not in the U.S., so wasn't sure where you were in relation. Thank you very much. I always appreciate you guys reaching out. Florida got hit really bad, I think. I don't know if Cuba has powder again or not. So it was pretty devastating for the people. By the time it gets here, it's going to be a tropical storm, which doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen, but it's a lot less scary than some of the other things. Sounds like Ninja. Yes, it is. That's funny. Oh, just jumping in from Northwest Florida Gulf. How are you doing? Are you safe? Because we hope so. So, okay, I'm going to take this out. We're going to take a look at it. I'm trying to leave both of these up. Compare and contrast. It looks pretty close. Is it exactly? No. But look, mine's been melting for a little while too. But this is what I want to kind of look at. Let's get in here. And the crystal size seems pretty close. Let's see if we can get this to focus in a little bit more. There we go. So I feel like the crystal size is really pretty close. So yeah, I think this one's a little bit lighter because I didn't put as much milk in. Yeah. So what I was doing with my pints is I was sticking a straw right in here, having my Frappuccino. This works the same way with the London Fog ice cream. I've turned that into like a drinkable frozen morning treat, especially when the summer was so hot. This morning I was sitting out there with my hoodie outside on the deck working, and I was eating London Fog ice cream because it was delicious and my throat was a little scratchy. Windy bands are still going on in Northwest Florida Gulf. Do you guys have some other questions? So here's what I want you to see out of this. So the whole purpose of me kind of comparing both of these, I suspect that if you have this, there's no reason to have that at this point. We may find that that's not true. I'm going to try some of the new settings every day for at least the next week. This has a larger container. Again, I'll just kind of put this. So this is the Ninja Deluxe pint, which is 3 cups, which is not a pint. I wish they said Ninja Creami pint container, Ninja Creami Deluxe container. And maybe everybody in Europe is like, I don't care at all. So I don't know why that kind of gets me, but it seems like a lot of that may be to have this extra room for the liquid for the drink settings. I haven't tried to look at any of the recipes, well, I guess I did. I did the apple one, which filled it up, I think, up to the big line, because I used, I think they called for 24 ounces of spice cider or apple cider, and I used applesauce, and I used an ounce less, and it worked out perfectly. And that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So those of you who are like, I want to buy this so I can make a Creamiccino, you don't need to buy this to make a Creamiccino. Here's a Creamiccino from here. So what I would recommend is taking 2 pints, taking the recipe, splitting it, unless you're going to be making it for 2 people. Then go ahead and make your pint, because what I'll do next is I'll fill this one with some milk and do the milkshake on it, and we both have one. Or I might freeze it back, because this is a lot of coffee for us. And I'm feeling it already from my tiny little sips. So you can make Frappuccino style beverages. So, and Marin, you don't have to have a Creami if you don't want to. You can do stuff in your Ninja Foodie blender. It's not exactly the same at all. You can make nice cream and ice creams in your blenders, in your Nutrimilk, in your Champion juicers, in your regular ice cream machines or other blenders. I will say I find, personally for me, this makes the best whole food, plant-based, scoopable ice cream that I've had. I'm not paid by Ninja to say that. That's just my true opinion. And that's why I created the Ninja Creami experience and went through with 40 videos of all the details of how to do everything and stuff like that. And have one cookbook and another cookbook coming for it. But I really like the ease of use a lot. I know a lot of people are going to be new and not sure which one to get. That's one reason we're doing these. The other one is if you have this one, then you can figure out if you want to upgrade or not. Right now it's like $249, and wasn't it $229 regular price for this? So the price difference isn't that much if you don't already have one. So I would probably say from this very early stage is that if you have this, you don't need that. If you don't have one, I probably would go ahead and get this one, just because I don't know what all's been updated yet, but it's not that much more expensive. I do know that this is more secure. There are a few other upgrades that we're finding as we move along this week. So Tammy's saying, is there a big difference between the different ones? And that's what we're going through all week. So today we were looking at, can we make, so if you look yesterday's video where I do the unboxing, we compare all the buttons and things and the sizes. The containers are different sizes. So like these are both outer bowls. This does about 3 cups. This does about 2 cups. This has a bunch more buttons. You can do half a container or a whole container, which we haven't done that yet. We're going to look at that tomorrow. So again, every day, just come in, we're going to do one particular test between the two and compare and contrast. So again, I don't want any of my original Ninja Creami users to feel FOMO if we can do all the same things. And it could be that the Italian ice setting is slightly nicer than the sorbet setting, but then you have to go, is it worth getting all new pints? Because the pints don't fit. If you have a bunch of Ninja Creami pints, then you'd have to upgrade your pints too. So it's not necessarily about one being bad and one being good. It's like which one is right for you. And oh, hi Diane says, hi from sunny California. A bigger machine and container would be better for a family. And it does have additional buttons. It has like the Creamiccino, which we made today. It's got a slushy, doesn't it? Is the slushy, there's a cocktail, frozen drink. So you can do cocktails. We'll do a cocktail too as well. So there you go. So again, I'm not trying to tell you you have to have one of these or whatever. I'm showing you and you make your own decisions that are best for you. This was called on the box, I think it was extra large family. It's not really for an extra large family, but compared to this, I guess it's family version versus couples version, or I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now. So I think it's time for me to go. If you guys have some questions, if you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave them down below. You can get some other recipes on healthyslowcooking.com. Just look up Ninja Creami. Please go ahead, if you're watching this, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. And I haven't decided what time I'm doing the live tomorrow, but it'll probably be around 1 o'clock. So I will be putting that up in just by the afternoon. So we'll go ahead and do that. And tomorrow we're going to look at the Italian ice setting versus the sorbet setting. Okay? I hope this helps. It's certainly delicious. So there's no losers here so far at all. Oh, CJ says, I've never had a Frappuccino. May give it a go if it gets warmer. Yeah, it's basically like a coffee milkshake. And again, just like me, I adjust the coffee down. Most people will adjust the coffee up. It's kind of the drink for non-coffee drinkers. Okay. Awesome, you guys. Have an amazing day. I will see those of you in Kathy's Cooking Club are taking the apple class tonight at 4 p.m. Check your emails for the link to go see that. If you want to join in, go to kathyhester.podia.com and click on the Apple House, the Apple class, not the Apple House, and you can purchase there. And we're going to make apple split pea soup, apple baked beans, apple fritters, and applesauce bread, which is going to be delicious. And Diane's saying, well, you want to have enough creamy, especially when there are kids involved, and that does make total sense. Yeah, everybody stay safe as the hurricane is kind of still moving around. You know, just be as safe as you can. All right, you guys, see you tomorrow with some Italian ice.